Welcome to the Wargames Orchard live show. Our very first attempt at YouTube. Can you tell? My name's Nathan Stone. With me today is Scott McMillan, and we're going to have a lot of fun tonight, hopefully. We've got a lot of things to cover. We've got a lot of neat things to announce and just talk about on camera. And this is neat because usually you're hearing us but can't see us, and now we can take two of your senses for our own.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully this finds you guys doing well. We have had some struggles tonight. We wanted to go live at 8 p.m. and now we're at 10 after 9 or so, and things have not gone to plan. We were originally going to have a couple of different camera angles and stuff, but you know what? None of that really matters because we're here with you, and that is that. We're going to do some really fun things today, and yeah, let's jump right into it. We've got a lot of topics to cover, including the new Bellacor, our own streaming of games coming soon, which I can almost guarantee will be, smoother than this.
A lot smoother.
Smoother.
We actually did this ourselves, which we had a professional.
We are not qualified for this.
We actually got it going, which is something.
Yeah. I mean, like sixth try,
probably. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, our main man, Raph, got caught up tonight, and he has been in meetings. He is a big, important Panasonic guy, and unlike the two of us who, just spend our time talking about Warhammer. So he wasn't able to join us, and he is kind of our technomancer, if you were. That's a good word for it. Yeah. Well, he could maybe raise some of this technology from the dead. He's going to have to after tonight's stream, probably. And yeah, this has been a bit of an adventure just getting this stream up, but we're going to go and we're going to do the rest of it like nothing.
Yeah, we're diving in.
Yeah, nothing bad happened here. First thing let's talk about is hobby and news. Same thing that we do on the podcast. You'll find a lot of the things that we're going to do today are going to be things that we usually do on the podcast, but this time you can watch us do them.
Yeah.
We do have some visual aids though, so we're embracing new technology.
We like some of the background.
Yeah. And
Bellacor.
Yeah, let's jump into it. Hobby and news. Scott, you do more hobby stuff than I do. I just tend to talk about Warhammer nowadays. I don't actually tend to do a lot.
No,
in the actual
that's official
hobby. At least I haven't in a while.
Just because you don't have a cramped hand from painting doesn't mean you can't. Hobbying and editing, it's all good.
Yeah.
So yeah, high elves.
High elves.
I'm into elves lately. All three actually.
Look at that. You don't discriminate.
Dark, high, wood. They're all there. It's all about games coming up for me. So. Or in inspiration. So I got it recently inspired by a game. I taught the Orchard edition to Andrew. Andrew is a massive high elf fan. He really wanted dragons out there and dragon princes. And
so you did a 3,000 point intro game.
3,000 points intro game. He sent me the list and I was like, that's 3,000. He's like, yeah, I just want to play these dragons and dragon princes. No problem. Cool. And he really loved it. I wasn't sure if he liked it at first. And then it was around turn 2 and he looks up at the ceiling and he goes, "This is awesome." I was like, okay, we got him. Okay. So we'll see him in the Orchard as well. So
excellent.
Yeah. But yeah, Dragon Princes I've been working on. I'm really excited about I use the Temple Guard blue, the teal, really bright and vibrant. And I've been dull that down with some Null Oil, then go back up again. I'm trying to get that, in the High Elf book I have here, it shows like a nice picture of blue and green. So it almost looks, it's kind of dark actually. It's like a dark version of the High Elves, but it's still like the teal kind of, you can see from a distance, oh yeah, that's a High Elf for sure. But and then Wood Elves, I'm working on a Tree Lord, the new kit.
The big one.
I had one already and I was like, you got to have two because I'm going to use one as a Tree Lord or Tree Ancient. Tree Lord Ancient and a Tree Lord. Yeah. So yeah, lots of elf work lately. What about yourself?
Well, we are doing a lot of stuff Orchard-wise and on other podcasts. And I say we apparently royally because I'm just talking about myself for the most part. I have been doing a lot of stuff with other podcasters and in other groups, and I might as well just move into news at this point because I haven't really been doing a whole lot of hobby stuff. I started painting some Beastmen a little while ago, and then I got a little bit swamped with other stuff. And yeah, the big news that I guess I have is that the Hero Hammer fanzine launched.
So cool.
And if you haven't heard of this thing, you can find it all over the place. It's actually been covered now by several of the gaming websites. A lot of people talking about it, and we're very happy about that. This is a real labor of love by a lot of people in the community. And I'm a very small part of it, and I'm very proud to be a very small part of it. I do a lore article that's in this first issue, and hopefully in the next issue I can branch out and do a couple more things. I would very much like to do a little bit of fluff writing as well. So, or not fluff, but short stories, that kind of thing. And I might see if the guys will let me cram one or two little vignettes into the next issue. But this is a magazine that is devoted to 90s Games Workshop games. It is designed to look like a White Dwarf magazine from the era. Right. So if you were to open up one of your old White Dwarfs from 94 or 96, we were going for that kind of feel. We have articles for Warhammer, Man of War, Warhammer 40K in this first issue. In subsequent issues, we're also going to have things like Epic Space Marine in there. And really, the sky's the limit. We've somehow managed to get to like 96 pages.
That's awesome.
In this first issue because we just kept adding.
You guys
more
worked
and more.
hard on it.
We really did. We really did. And shout out to our editors for this. GJ, I believe, is a huge part of that. Big friend of the show as well, patron of the show.
Yeah,
the big shout out to him. And on our most recent podcast, if you listen to that, you'll hear his voice. He's a great guy. But honestly, I could spend like 20 minutes just shouting out people for this magazine because it is really cool. The first issue is all about night goblins. Check it out. If you Google or search for Hero Hammer fanzine, you'll find it. It is now all over the internet, and it's really, really cool. That was the first thing that I needed to mention. The second thing is I've been doing some more things with the Flail of Skulls podcast. They are a very fun podcast, and they do a lot of things regarding 5th edition Warhammer, Hero Hammer stuff. Right now, they're doing a series that is making army lists for 5th edition and doing all sorts of weird themed stuff and competitive lists and everything between those 2 points. And for me, I go more towards the fluff side. So there is a lot of lore writing that goes into my lists, a lot of story planning and that kind of thing. So I've recently recorded a session that we did about the Empire. So we're using that 4th ed Empire book, which is a really fun book. A lot of cool stuff in there, but it's certainly not a top tier book. It certainly shows its age.
It's bright and colorful.
It's bright and colorful, and there's so many choices. Yeah. And what I did was I leaned into the Empire's ability to take allies because they have more allies than like anybody.
Yes, right.
And I ended up doing a list all about the fall of Erengrad in the Storm of Chaos. So what I did was I themed it around Kislev, and I used the Kislev bits to build the main part of the force, and then I allied in Bretonnians and I allied in High Elves because all of people don't realize, but Erengrad, and it doesn't get a lot of press, being just a city in Kislev, but it is one of the major ports in the old world.
You actually just explained Game of Thrones, but in Warhammer, because they all go to the north.
Actually,
to defend the
thing. Yeah, it's a little bit like that, and not as happy an ending for the defenders of Erengrad, unfortunately. But yeah. Check out Flail of Skulls podcast. Check out our podcast, too. If you're watching this for the first time, if you just found us on YouTube, we are the Wargames Orchard. We do all sorts of stuff. We're just getting into streaming, as you can probably tell. And we have a podcast that updates every week. We are into episodes on the history of Warhammer 40K, neat things about those two games. We're going to be branching out in the near future as well, getting in some Infinity, looking at doing a little mini series there, and all sorts of stuff. Now, I think we need to talk more about the videos, our plans for the future. And a lot of it is around streaming Warhammer Fantasy, which isn't something that gets a lot of play these days. We're also looking at streaming a little bit of Warhammer 40K and some Infinity as well. We're going to start out with those 3 games, but we're going to branch out as well. And one thing that we can offer that's a little bit unique is our own brand of Warhammer Fantasy. And it's not too different than the Warhammer Fantasy that you've played. And we are going to play Warhammer Fantasy from a bunch of different ages. But we have the Orchard Edition here, which kind of kicked off this whole thing about a year and a bit ago, when a few guys in our community, including Scott, decided that, hey, Warhammer's great. Wouldn't it be better, though, if we took bits from all of these different eras, mostly 6th and 8th, and stuck them together and made them kiss? And you came up with the Orchard Edition Warhammer. And our very first stream is going to be that. It's going to be an Orchard game. And the very basics, and Scott will go over this in a minute in a little bit more detail, but the very basics are, you have the 6th edition core rules and the 8th edition army books. And it sounds crazy. Perhaps it sounds crazy, but it does work better than you think. Scott, why don't you take us through a little bit of what the Orchard games are, and that maybe that first stream and what you've got planned for it.
Yeah, so first of all, we decided to, I don't know why I was thinking, like, what's my first army I want to take? Like, I'm a Vampire Counts player at heart. It's my favorite army, but I wanted to do something a little different. I haven't played the Wood Elves as much as I'd like. So I said to Jesse's going to be the opponent, and Jesse had an awesome idea. It's going to be Heinrich Kemmler's Undead host versus the Athel Loren host. So Wood Elves versus Undead. It's going to be a 2,500 point game. And we're going to be using, like Nathan said, we're using the 6th edition core set with 8th edition books. I have all the 8th edition books with me and some others. And how that works, it's quite simple. There's actually the philosophy around it first, which is, why would this work? So in a lot of other editions, we have 6th, 7th, 5th, not so much because it's a whole different breed, right? But I'm going to compare 6th, 7th, and 8th mostly. And what it comes down to is, in 6th and 7th, you have really good things about it, but you also have the army books. Some are really powerful, some are really weak. So this kind of makes the issue for me is that I always think of new people coming to play the game. So if someone comes to play the game and they say, oh, I really want to play Tomb Kings, I don't want to say that's not the greatest choice for 8th edition, or, because of XYZ. They weren't great in 8th edition. So after play testing all this, we found that each book has a lot of merit, more so than other books and other editions. What this means is it's kind of rule of cool. If you want to play an army, we have found that each army book from 8th works better in 6th than it would in 8th. And there's many reasons for that. The other thing is your models. So you get to use your model line that you've collected. No matter what, you can play whatever models you want. You can play your 5th ed models in our Orchard, whatever. You can even print them. We don't care. We're here to play test this game. So at its heart is 6th edition core rules, 8th edition army books. Why I brought my books today, I was going to do a quick example if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a random book. I have them face the other way. So I'm just going to grab a book. And what we're going to do is go to the army list.
Okay.
Right? All right. Look, orcs and goblins. So randomly grab that. So we just go to the army list and we look at their special rules. And that's all I'm going to really get into, just to give the folks at home the idea. The idea of this is that it doesn't not translate. It translates quite well. So the animosity rule, it's going to work. Animosity test, character, blah, blah, blah. Choppas. Models with the chopper rule gains +1 strength. So I'm reading out of the 8th edition book. That would be really awesome if they didn't strike an initiative, which they don't because we're playing 6th. So all of a sudden that chopper rule on the charge is like, whoa. And Nathan and I have had this test.
It works. It does work.
So the chopper rule in that round can really, and for those that at home that don't know, 6th edition, when you cut the front rank out, they're not striking back. So list building with these 8th edition books becomes all this other breed of a game. Fear elves, well, that's easily to translate. Size matters. Biggins, you have all that stuff. So this is like super easy to translate. There are other things. And I won't grab another book, but I'll use another one that comes off the top of my head because I've been playing elves a lot lately. Let's go to High Elves. High Elves martial prowess, shooting and attacking from 1 extra rank. Translates fine because if you read the book in the 6th, the rules are you only strike with the front rank. So all of a sudden you get that extra rank to attack.
Yes,
so those are just minor examples. We'd love you guys to try it. We're going to play our first game as the Orchard edition to show you. We've been playing since, well, because of COVID, lacking that, but we have had some games. It's over a year. It's been over a year.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, that's it. I had some, the model range was another thing. Using your library, you have all these books at home, and I appreciate all the 9th edition players and the work they put into it. But I have all these books sitting on my shelf, and I love to use them. So I'm not shooting down any other way people want to play. I just love my library I have, and I'm like, cool, I'd really like to use that. So we have a good community here to do that. And it's some of the mundane rules that happen in 8th become alive again. So that's it. We're going to show that off a bit when we get the live stream going. Yeah. Excellent.
And you've got a lineup for the live stream for that first game.
Yeah, it's going to be well, like I said, Heinrich Kemmler's Undead Host versus.
Oh yes, yeah. But were we planning on theming that a little bit towards the?
I'm gonna leave this. I'm not gonna say too much because Jesse and I have been talking about it. So we're gonna post it and give you the rundown, kind of introduce it, and we're even like what Jesse and I usually do is play a series of games. So we've had a series of my Beastman versus his Skaven, and we had 3 games, and then it's just like crazy lore ideas come out of that. Why are the Beastmen fighting Skaven? It's obviously over. They're in each other's way, and talking about that and the outcomes. Really fun stuff, but we're really looking forward to showing that off to you guys.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, that takes us through the news there, and when did we have a firm date on that one? We're still thinking this month.
Yeah, definitely. March break is a little crazy, but honestly, it could be in 2 weeks. So as early as 2 weeks, we will post that for you guys as soon as we know.
Excellent.
But we did go from 2,000 points. The idea 2,000 points, and we were like, 2,500 is the new 2,000. We're even saying after Jesse and I had the 5K game, we were like, the 3,000 is the new 2,000. So
we have to have this at some kind of level that people can watch this and not spend their whole day.
Exactly. We thought about that. We have a lot of ideas, and we'll see if we can push that to its fruition when we get there. So super excited though. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for news for us. And I think now we should probably talk about the Dark Master, the return of Bellacor.
Yeah.
Not someone I expected to see again, honestly.
Yeah.
He's an odd duck as far as his place in the game goes, and both in Warhammer and in 40K, there's really not been a good spot for him since almost his inception. Like, he's one of the few characters where I think his highlight of importance to the lore came before his model and his fluff was actually cemented.
That's true. Yeah.
So Bellacor has his origins really in the incredible summer campaign that was Dark Shadows. Dark Shadows?
Storm of Chaos.
The
Bellacor.
The Albion campaign.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was thinking of that, and then I was like, no, that was wasn't that a sitcom about a vampire from like the 80s? I love
it. I'm into it.
Yeah. I feel like Dark Shadows. Well, I have to Google that one in a second. Anyway, so he was from this great Albion campaign that ran in the summer of 2001, I believe. And the great thing about him was that he was this dark master. He was this shadowy figure. You didn't really know what he was. Was he a servant of chaos? Was he his own like forgotten angry god or something? And the whole point of this Albion campaign was that his servants were trying to destabilize Albion. Albion is very important in the Warhammer world, part of that geomantic web that kind of funnels the winds of chaos towards the magical vortex. And by destabilizing that, he could throw things into turmoil. And that was really cool. That was really neat. It gave us some very cool models. There was the Dark Emissaries. There was the Truthsayers. And there was the Fen Beast that either of them could summon. I love the Fen Beast.
They were good.
It was like an old school Swamp Thing kind of beastie. It was so good. And the thing with Bellacor was he didn't show up in that campaign. He would show up later in the Storm of Chaos campaign. And I had totally forgotten about this entirely. I kept looking for Bellacor everywhere while we were preparing for this show. I thought that he was just completely gone from the history books. I was like, did I imagine this guy? And I was like, no, I saw the preview. I couldn't have imagined him. But he doesn't appear in any of the places that I expected him to appear.
He wants you to imagine him.
Seriously. He doesn't appear in the 6th edition, 7th edition, or 8th edition army books for either Warriors of Chaos or when it was Hordes of Chaos back in 6th, or Demons of Chaos in 7th and 8th. And where he does appear is in the Storm of Chaos campaign. And thank you, Scott, for finding that for me.
And Patrick, thank you. He confirmed it's Dark Shadows in 01.
In 01, so, thank you, Patrick. Yeah. I knew Patrick would definitely know that.
I said that earlier too. I was typing to find it. I was like, Patrick would know.
Yeah. So the great thing is that we have his rules in that campaign book, and then we just don't have him again in Warhammer Fantasy. And
it's
now
40K.
I'm not.
It's like
he becomes kind of a 40K character. Which
he's
is really
scary.
Weird.
In some, it was the Flying Circus list. Do you remember? I don't
know. The 7th Ed?
Yeah,
40K?
I think it was 7th or before. Yeah, I think it was 7th Ed. Even before. Anyway, this Flying Circus. That's where I first I heard the name Bellacor because I loved the Dark Shadows. Devin and I played Dark Shadows, but he came into 40K and he was just like,
was it because he could get invisibility? Was that why you
exactly?
Yes, I remember this now.
Something like a 2-up or
it was like a 2-up rerollable invulnerable. Or no, you get the crazy invulnerable, but then invisibility meant that people only hit you on a 6.
6, yeah.
It was nuts. 7th Ed was a bad time. I played way too much 40K in 7th Ed. I regret every part of that.
We had this talk. I had to talk in 3 different groups today how bad 7th edition was, and it was the time I played it the most.
And nobody would ever argue with you that it was.
And I thought it was ludicrous at the time. I really did. But it was like it was my competitive years of it playing it. So I was like, of course I'm going to buy 5-6 rhinos because they were free anyway. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So I got I played 7th edition because it was what my friend group was
Yeah.
playing. And my thing was that I ended up doing the second company of the Ultramarines because there was
Wow.
that
Yeah.
you could get all of those free transports. And you know what was funny about it was you get like 700 points free.
Oh yeah. for
And
sure. Yeah.
I was still losing constantly because like I could do this fluffy force and I could get and I could like stick it all into 2,000 points just.
Yeah.
But it was bad. It was still bad because everything else had all of those bonuses, and then you
Yeah.
would spec it for competitive play. It was just nuts.
It was definitely a ludicrous time. I'm actually thankful though for the ITC. They did like GW just went like crazy here. Just here's everything, do it. But at least the ITC had some, okay, we're gonna dumb this down, and you know, they did fix it a little bit, but there was that list though. It was Dark Angels mixed with Space Wolves, mixed with Blood Angel, and it was this Death Star, and it's not fun. It's not fun.
No, it was gross. There was so many gross things in that era that
Yeah.
I don't even remember
And
them
I'm
all.
sorry for getting off topic. I
Yeah,
think
it's true.
we've done this before with 7th edition 40K.
Here's
So,
the problem though, in this doing this as a live stream, I can't go back and edit all of this out
It's
or
okay.
go back and make it so that I sound smarter than I am. And now everyone's going to know. And I don't know how I feel about
I'll
YouTube
have to have
all
I'll
of
have a
sudden.
taser underneath.
I'll
Just
give
have
me
a
shock.
taser underneath
Yeah.
the table.
So what I thought might be fun is kind of looking at Bellacor a little bit here. We'll talk about him and about what he could do, because we did really only get this one profile. I know he might have appeared in White Dwarf at some point for an update for 7th or 8th. I don't have that, and I'm sorry if I've forgotten it. I don't remember seeing that, but it might have happened. But we do have Bellacor in 6th, and we'll talk about him a little bit in 40K as well, because he's a bit of a weird character in 40K. Bellacor is the very first Demon Prince, and he is unique amongst all of the Demon Princes of Chaos. What makes him unique is that the Chaos Gods didn't really know what they wanted to do in creating a Demon Prince. They thought, hey, we have this mortal servant. He's so cool. Let's reward him to the utmost. Let's do everything we can do for him. And Bellacor had power poured into him by all 4 of the gods of chaos.
Yeah.
And it's the only time they ever did this, because it was a disaster. And by that, they mean he can't be controlled by any of the 4, unlike their other demon princes. Now, the Chaos Gods are very laissez-faire with their demons to begin with, because each one of them knows that if I'm Slaanesh and I have a Keeper of Secrets, I don't care what that Keeper of Secrets is doing, because A, it's still kind of a part of me and I know everything it's doing anyway.
Right.
And secondly, it is made of my own essence and my own essence alone. Whatever it chooses to do is something that's going to further my cause regardless. And it's the same thing with the greater demons of any other god. The demon princes have a little bit more autonomy because, of course, they used to be mortal, but they still don't stray far from the apple. The demonic apple doesn't fall far from the tree of damned shades or whatever it is. And you can't really, as a demon, do something that displeases your master other than, fail at something.
Yeah.
Because anything that you think of is already something that's going to further their aims. You don't have that kind of autonomy. It's not real freedom being a demon prince.
Hence why you can't roll on the boon table.
That's right. They don't need to reward you.
You're already there.
You're already there. Yeah, they don't care. And for Bellacor, because he had this power shoved into him by all 4 of the gods, he became, in aspect, this icon of chaos undivided. And none of the 4, each of the 4 of them could influence him, but they couldn't control him the way that they could control their own demons.
Mm-hmm.
And he very quickly realized this and just went and did his own thing. Now, because he is a demon of chaos, whatever he does will serve the greater desires of chaos, but not necessarily any one god at the time. And the Chaos Gods were sure to never make that mistake again, because it it meant that they had poured power into something and not gotten that same return that they usually do. Bellacor has found himself, because of this, on the wrong side of the Chaos Gods on multiple occasions. They don't really like him, but they kind of have to deal with him because each of the 4 of them created them, so none of them can destroy him on their own because he is not technically a servant of theirs. It's a really weird situation that he finds himself in.
Maybe a little bit like the One Ring.
Yeah,
you know
a
what I
little
mean?
bit. Yeah,
it's like that idea where cast them into, they'd have to all get together. And,
they'd have to all get together and kind of unmake him. And because they never agree on anything,
never agree
they can't do that.
Korn and Slanesh would never.
And Tzeentch could possibly bring himself to do that. So what's neat about him is that because he has this unique autonomy, he's been able to set himself up as kind of a demigod at certain points in time, both in fantasy and in 40K. And he breaks onto the scene in fantasy as the Dark Master that's trying to mastermind the fall of Albion to the Dark Powers.
What's his stat line?
His stat line's pretty okay.
It's not. It's for 6th edition. It might
for 6th edition. Let's take a look at his stat line. So he has movement 6, weapon skill 9, ballistic skill 0, strength 5, toughness 5, 5 wounds, initiative 9, 5 attacks, and leadership 10.
Okay.
And I looked at this before we started. He has 1 higher weapon skill and 1 higher initiative than a normal demon prince.
Right.
He is, however, 350 points more expensive at a 650 points for him. However, the proof of the details, the devil is in the details here. He does some stuff. And I'm not going to go over all of it. He has 7 unique special rules.
Oh, wow.
Not including things like large target and fly.
Right, because some of them must be from the 4 gods, right?
Yeah, and he has
that makes sense.
His own spell lore.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
neat. I now see this is the part of the show where I realize on air that I messed up one of my podcasts, because the Kislev podcast, I was like, I'm pretty sure Serena is the only one who ever got her own spell lore. Hey, and lo and behold,
we're learning.
Bellacor has his own.
This is how we learn. We go on live stream and learn
stuff. It's called the Master of Shadows is his spell lore. Right. It's actually, there's some really cool stuff there. It is 6th edition, so it's quite toned down from what you would see in 7th, 8th, or 4th, 5th.
Yeah.
6th was kind of a bad time to be a wizard. As far as power level goes, it was kind of the nadir of their
would
point.
Increase the points because interesting.
Yeah. And so we're going to hit some highlights here for Bellacor. So we've gone over his stat line. He has one of his best special rules, and I'm sure you pay a pretty penny for this points wise, is called Shadow Shroud. Now you take Bellacor for a demonic army, the demonic legions list here. So keep in mind that it's all demons. All enemy shooting aimed at Bellacor or any unit in his army suffers a -1 to hit.
Whoa.
He's that is a heck of a rule, right?
Right.
He has some of the things that you would expect, and one of them is really neat. He has terror, but he has terror +1 terror, called Eternal Terror, which is really neat.
Whoa.
And the way it works is you have to test for terror, of course, like you would in 6th edition. Then, instead of having passed that test and being fine, you had to keep testing every turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that seems pretty brutal to me, honestly. Bad, I think that's a really good rule.
So he's more like, well, so far what I think about is I think about cost. And then you're talking about just bringing him out to play that buff character where he's just debuff buff and you haven't gotten to the fighting yet, but I'm very curious. I haven't seen this stat line since 2002 maybe.
Well, that's it, right? You wouldn't have needed to look at it in a long time. So he's a level 4 wizard, which right there is I think a lot of the points for this guy. And he has his own lore. Some of them are pretty blase. His first spell, Bolt of Dark Light, strength D6, strength 5 hits. He's got, the little magic missile that everyone gets. He's got some things that kind of get a little interesting here. His spells range from 7 to cast to 12 to cast. And one of them that I kind of like is called Fog of Death. And it represents, it says Fog of Death, but the way that the spell works is it actually represents, do you remember Pit of Shades?
Oh, yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
So like things coming out of the ground and grabbing at you.
Right.
Yeah, like the ethereal
like dwellers
hands.
below.
Dwellers, sorry, not Pit of Shades, dwellers. Thank you.
So it sounds like maybe Nurglish.
It's got a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But it's basically these shadow demons that he summons. And if he casts it, it hits every unit on the enemy side of the battlefield. No, it's not as bad as you think.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Because it's only every unit D6 strength 3 hits for every unit.
D6 strength 3. Okay. Well. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, though. It can do a little bit to a lot of units, right?
It means more in 6 then. Because you get that rank. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is a cast on a 10, which in 6th ed is a little
right. Yeah. Right.
But I haven't gotten to the funny part of the spell yet. Bellacor, wherever he finds these shadow demons, he only has limited control over them. So once you've done this spell and you've gotten all the damage here, you have to roll a dice. And on a 4 to 6, each unit in his army takes the same,
Of course, because it's chaos.
Because it's chaos. Well, chaos, they couldn't possibly let you have good things.
Here's a sword that does all this damage, but if you roll a 1, you're dead. Okay.
Yeah. Classic.
Okay,
G-dubs.
I'm excited to read and compare some of the new Bellacor. We don't have.
Yeah, we don't have.
It'd be awesome if they transferred some of these abilities over. To AOS. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, this will work in AOS because AOS gives people their own spells as
mortal
opposed
wounds,
to
D3 mortal wounds instead.
I really want to see some of these turn up. He does have his ultimate spell here is worth mentioning. It's the Coils of the Serpent, and this is a really neat one. What it represents is, again, like one of those shadow demons, except this one's like this giant tentacle that comes out of the ground and gets at you. And it's a very simple one, but you choose and this is where it gets really mean. So it's only got a range of 12, but you can cast it on any visible model within 12. There is no restrictions. You can pick out characters from units. You can pick out war machines. You can do whatever you want.
Good.
And it allows you to make them take a toughness test. And of course, 6th ed toughness tests always fail on a 6, or if you roll over your toughness.
Yep.
If it fails its toughness test, whatever you cast it on is removed. No saves of any kind, no wards, no, it's just you pick it up.
That sounds like an 8th edition spell.
It does a little bit, right?
Yeah, right.
I feel like 8th might have made it a template, because 8th was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Bellacor. He's got a whole page of rules in this, so we're not going to go over it. But he's a really cool character. 650 points. This is really the last Bellacor we got for Warhammer Fantasy, and he's an odd duck. An odd duck. In 40K, he actually sticks around longer.
Yeah,
and.
Makes sense. More popular game. And
I mean, it is, but Bellacor, all of Bellacor's fluff was for fantasy. Like they just kind of shoved him in 40K. They didn't really do much for him though. And I read, so I got my Warhammer 40K codex over here.
That's right.
And he is, I mean, he's all right. So so this is the Demons one. Yep. It's slightly out of date. It's the 8th ed. It doesn't. I haven't downloaded the FAQs or anything like that for
Actually, it's not. The only thing the addition was the Psychic Awakening added a lot for that book. But you still the book's still.
I mean, it still is the current book. Yep. It's just
exactly. I was hoping actually Bellacor's release was going to be the hint towards the Daemon book becoming soon.
Please, I really want to have a better.
I stopped purchasing Keepers of Secrets because I was worried they would be like, oh, you can only have 2. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, that would be a bit of a worry, right? Or Purge Attachment or something like that.
Which I'm fine with. But
I gotta find
that model.
Bellacor. They stuck him at the the very end here. They just an afterthought.
I could actually, and he's not in the 8th edition fantasy book, which is
Yeah.
weird too.
Yeah, so we did get a few things. We got a page of lore on Bellacor
Yeah.
in 40K, in 8th edition at least. And it really doesn't tell you anything new other than the fact that he's been at work in the galaxy since time immemorial. That he's got a lot of ties to different warbands, including works alongside the Black Legion and Abaddon quite a bit. And it's always hinted that it's always for his own purposes. He doesn't have a lot of loyalty to any one thing or one. He's really always looking to do his own thing. It seems a lot like he wants to set himself up as a minor kind of chaos god in his own way. So one of the more interesting parts of the lore in this book is that he's described as having kind of this thing that he does where he'll go to a planet with a society that's either backwards or just starting to emerge. And then he'll kind of come down as this messiah figure, this god that's descended from the heavens.
That's awesome.
And he'll mold and twist this society and these peoples or species until they're just totally broken. They're non-functional. They're until they've almost destroyed themselves completely or their planet or whatever. And then he'll just leave. He'll just leave and do it again.
That's like worse than Thanos. Like
no. I mean Thanos had some real plans, but
I just got excited because I want to see if the new Bellacor in 40K can take on a Primarch. I'm sure they probably. This is exciting because.
I mean, he's due for an upgrade.
Can he, like, Mortarian's the scary thing right now, so it'd be cool if he could like hold his own a bit.
Yeah,
but let's see how powerful he is.
Let's talk about Bellacor as he exists right now, because I think he's got to be He's got to be skyrocketing, right? Buy Bellacor stocks.
I'm gonna do a thumbs down. I just looked at a stat line. I was just like, oh no.
Yeah. So
not very good.
The thing with Bellacor is he is a demon prince in 40K that has some ups and downs compared to regular demon princes. Going through his stat line here, they're both weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+. Bellacor does have a movement of 14 though. He flies around the battlefield. That's great. One less strength than your average.
Right, the demon prince.
Yeah. Okay. So he's got a strength of 6, tough 6, 8 wounds.
Same.
6 attacks though, so bonus 2 attacks. Leadership 9, 4 up save. He's got a couple of special rules here, nothing like his fantasy self. He's the Lord of Torments. You subtract 1 from enemy leadership nearby, within 12, whatever. Prince of Chaos, which is kind of cool. It's the reroll the hit buff for models around him, except it works on any Chaos Demons instead of God specific, because he is all of them put together. And finally, he's got Shadow Form, which is reroll failed saving throws, which is it's okay, but he's only got that 4 up.
This is not one you take today, unfortunately. No.
He can manifest 2 psychic powers, which is good. Better than a regular demon prince.
I'm really happy you're going over this because I love comparing this to when we get the new model. And it's worth looking, even if you don't play AOS, look at the stat line, say of him and Zombie Dragon, whatever. And just see if you could take it on. It's fun to think about that. I like to compare.
Yeah, so he is an interesting. I'm not going to look up his points because I'm sure his points have changed. Since, I don't have the newest points here.
But he's getting an upgrade. We know it. He can't just be giant for nothing. Right?
One of the cool things that he can do, and one reason you might want to include him in your demon army, is that he can take powers from the Dark Hereticus discipline, which is the Chaos Space Marine discipline,
that is
not
cool.
the demon one, which is kind of cool. Get you that warp time. Everyone loves warp time. But he's an interesting character. When we see him in Storm of Chaos, it's actually kind of interesting to get back to fantasy, because when we're introduced to him, he actually has to crown Archaon as the Everchosen. He has been cursed. The Chaos Gods love to mess with Bellacor, and his latest punishment for just existing is that he has to keep crowning the Everchosen of Chaos.
That is great.
And each time he does it, he's trying to take the what's his helmet thing called, Archaon's? It's basically the coronation thing, whatever
thing.
crown
Yeah.
he is. And
it's not the Helm of Many Eyes. No, I was just thinking of the Helm of Many Eyes.
Oh man, I love the Helm of Many Eyes. It's so good. 5th ed, Helm of Many Eyes is almost mandatory. Let's always strike first.
That's
for
correct.
A character, for a chaos character.
Does it make you stupid?
I can't remember.
It makes you stupid in other editions.
It does. I don't think it does in 5th.
Okay.
Patrick will know.
I can't wait. I can't wait to get back. It's so fun.
Yeah. Oh man, you'll love it. It's so good. And yeah, so we see him there, and he's kind of this spectral creature because he's been locked away by the Chaos Gods, and he keeps having to crown these Everchosen. And in Storm of Chaos, he finally breaks free.
I was going to say, so he's bound to this.
He's bound to this
against his will. It's the only thing the gods can do to him.
Yeah,
you have to.
Yeah, because they can't destroy him, so they just kind of have to mess with him.
Oh my god, I can imagine so many memes of him being like trying to not do it.
And so he comes out and he's upset. Rightfully so, quite frankly. I think Bellacor has probably done nothing wrong. His only crime has really been existing.
Yeah.
And he gets out, and what he really wants to do is put Archaon in his place. He's like, I am the first chosen of chaos. Me.
Man.
Millions of years ago, before you even existed, Archaon.
I'm not the chosen of anything, and I want to put Archaon in his place.
I mean,
Archaon's a jerk. Yeah. I love Total War for that. It's just like
you can
tool up your big and just go murder him.
Just like, enjoy my doom stack, Archaon.
Exactly. He did get me though the first 2 times. He got me because I didn't know you have to kill him in a live game. I did auto battles against him, and he kept coming back. Back. And then I finally had to research it. You have to beat him in a live game for him not to keep coming back. So I was like, once I learned that, I was like, it's on. So,
nice.
Yeah, I'm with Bellacor. I want Archaon going.
Patrick hit us up. Crown of Domination for Archaon.
Nice.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Now, he gets his freedom during the Storm of Chaos. And the first thing he does, is want to put Archaon in his place. And the way he does this is kind of fantastic. So Archaon, at this opening of the Storm of Chaos, defeated the Grand Theogenist Volkmar in battle. Volkmar marched north with a huge army of flagellants and other Imperial forces to stop Archaon before he could get to civilized lands. Archaon cut Volkmar to ribbons, smashed the what's his not a war wagon, his chariot thing. Smashed that to pieces.
War altar?
War altar, thank you. And destroyed his army. Now, Bellacor comes in, and Bellacor sees the remains of this battle and decides that death is not enough for the Grand Theogenist. And Bellacor is the one that resurrects him and chains him to his personal standard that his demonic legions are marching forward with.
I'm starting to really like Bellacor.
Bellacor's pretty cool.
Cool.
He gets a lot of flack for almost no reason.
He's the current. This is his version of memes. Putting the guy on the altar.
Yeah, and Bellacor's whole end game for this was just like what Archaon has done, I can undo because I'm better.
Right.
I am superior. Also, he thought it was really funny that the Grand Theogenist is being back alive owed his resurrection to a chaos demon, and that he would forever kind of be tainted by that and that chaos energy. I think that's so cool.
Super funny.
And now the weird thing about the Storm of Chaos is that its place in the canon has been really shuffled around, with bits of it remaining to the end times and bits of it being retconned. And Bellacor, again, he kind of gets in this half zone area between does he exist in the game or doesn't he exist in the game? So he's an odd character, and I love that he is back.
The old model's pretty cool too.
The old model is fantastic.
I like it.
I think only thing that you can, I guess, if you were really nitpicking for things to nitpick about the old model, is that he is about to the scale of the 5th edition Demon Princes.
Okay, yeah.
Who are not necessarily shorter, than the plastic demon prints that we all know today, but are thinner. They're just a little bit more condensed, right? They're a little lankier, and Bellacor's got that same thing going on with him. I love that model, though. I think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous model. Yeah. We should talk about the new model, which is behind us right now. What do you think?
Well, honestly, it's really, really gorgeous. They have him on they raised him higher than he's like taller than he actually could be. I mean, he's big as he's almost as big as a Bloodthirster.
Mm-hmm. So, and the Bloodthirster itself is doing that jump thing.
Yeah, true.
So even the Bloodthirster, like if you were to, the Bloodthirster is deceiving because the Bloodthirster's not actually all that bigger than the metal Bloodthirster. He's like this, but like he's coming up so high.
Yeah.
And I think Bellacor's got the same thing going on there.
Did you see you can swap out a Chaos Warrior body with an Ultramarine body or the Space Marine body? It's so cool.
That is a very clever bit. I do like that. I thought it was interesting that they chose a Chaos Warrior for that.
So if you see his sword, he's leeching out the Chaos Warriors. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't really sure. Like I thought, oh yeah, of course he's going to kill whatever. But after you reading these stories, like telling me about his fluff more, I'm like, yeah, he's going to try and dominate chaos.
Yeah.
He's like,
you think he's coming for Archaon in Age of Sigmar? It'd be kind of cool.
I hope so.
That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, okay. Oh, gonna have to start playing AOS then.
It's fair.
Actually, Carl and I do play AOS. We haven't played in forever. We will talk about that because we're gonna do Khorne versus Slaanesh demons.
I love it.
Yeah, we'll do that on stream for sure.
Yeah.
But like Bellacor, okay. So he's standing up, he's tall, he's gorgeous. He's meant for the new editions, of course.
Yeah.
I heard talk online of people going to fit him on a 50x50. Not is probably possible, but it's going to be tight. I don't think that's necessary. He's a whole different breed, I think.
Yeah. As much as I would say you could use him for Warhammer Fantasy, it is going to take some doing getting him on there. I think if you get rid of his base, you got a better chance. But his wingspan is so huge that
it's so big, but at the same time, it's really cool.
It is really
It's going to take up, obviously I got to magnetize those wings to transport them, right? So I don't know. I'm really into it. Somebody that doesn't swear a lot, I showed them the picture and they said the F word. So I was like, they're like, holy F. I was like, okay. Yeah.
What I like about this model is that they really didn't change him at all.
I like that.
Like they remade him with the technology they have today. And they made him bigger, but Games Workshop can't help but make things bigger. That's what they do. And looking at his old model, it's almost identical. They've changed his sword pose. Like his sword pose is up in his old model, and it's down in this one.
I like the down,
but
I do like the down. It's very similar.
It's
like the homage is there. Mm-hmm. Kind of like think about all the demons actually. Like the greater demon of Tzeentch is mind-blowingly beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like and the kit, you can give him the Karos Fate Weaver, the extra head.
It's nice.
I mean, that's something you think about in the past, and when you're playing 6, that's how even the little guy, that's how you still imagine him, like to be that. Like the old one looks like that, what I mean? In your head, it's like, you know what I mean? So, and then they're all the greater demons right now are just, they don't need to redo those. In my opinion, like they're so good. And Bellacor,
they're all new.
They're all new and they're really good. Yeah. Some of the new sculpts aren't, they're arguable, but I think the demons offer more organic. They have flesh and wings, and there's just they're more fun and organic. Fantasies there.
It's funny because we're talking about trying to stick Bellacor in Warhammer Fantasy. We can't really stick any of the greater demons nowadays in Warhammer. They just don't really fit.
They don't. What I should have done, Jesse and I played that 5K game. I put my keeper on. I actually could fit it on 50x50.
Really?
I magnetized it. But I thought to be cooler, I'd put it on a bigger base for our game. And it turns out I could have got a charge against Nagash if I didn't put it on the big base. And I was like, Scott,
modeling for disadvantage.
Exactly, yeah. In the 50x50, the front of the base was fully, and the sides were fine. Mm-hmm. It's because the keeper's Leith and thin.
Right,
back,
right.
yeah.
And it's a very very thin profile.
It's just the back, the dress, and it's just the back. There's two types of dresses you can put on it, and there's one of them that's actually smaller. It's a curled up one. So anyway, it worked. So all the power to you if you can get Bellacor going in fantasy.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Absolutely. I guess any chance we see him in the old world? Probably not. We shouldn't canonically, depending on how close they stick to the fluff that was established.
I don't think we're going to see demons for a while.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Maybe not.
I think I keep going back to our cast on the old world, and I'm like, I'm convinced that that's the way it's going to be after listening to you. We're bantering back and forth about it, and like your ideas. And I'm like, it's probably going to be more centralized around
I do think
we know,
I do think people who are just like now I love people speculating online. It's fun. I love to do it. I think the people who are thinking that the old world is going to be, you're going to see like Cathay and the crazy places in the old world, and it's like, guys, no, they wouldn't have called it the old world if they weren't going to focus on this one very specific geographical region. But we can't get into that. We just don't have time, because that is a pet peeve of mine when I see it online.
Yeah, true.
So anything else to add on Bellacor? I feel like
I'm more excited about it now. Like you went over this.
It's just what we do. We just hype each other up. We're just really good cheerleaders for each other.
Like bringing the little chaos. I didn't look at his profile before in 40K. I think he was decent at first in 8th edition. I can't remember, in the index maybe. But I'm excited to see that first stat line go double in points. 14 wounds instead of 8, and it's gonna be cool.
All right, one thing that we wanted to cover on this video, and because this channel of ours, it's starting off with this one video, but eventually there's gonna be more and more, and some people, those crazy people who like to do things sequentially, might start with this first live stream.
Right.
And if they're doing that, and they found our channel, and we're very Warhammer Fantasy focused here, they might be thinking, well, how in the world do I start Warhammer nowadays? How do you collect? How do you paint? How do you play? Things aren't as straightforward when you are the abandoned child of Games Workshop.
Man, it's real.
It is real.
Yeah.
And whatever the old world turns into, we don't know. In fact, there was a rumor today, not today, but in the last week, going around, I think on Spiky Bits, that they are going for a different scale for the old world. That's not confirmed or anything, but I think it's a definite possibility that this may not be compatible with Warhammer Fantasy. And if it's not, I mean, whatever. We're still going to play Warhammer Fantasy. If the old world's good, we might get into that. And I think in 2021, we're in a really weird place for Warhammer. And it's not a bad place. I think it's actually a better place than the game's been in half a decade. More than half a decade, honestly. And I thought maybe we could quickly take some time and go over kind of what it's like to be a Warhammer Fantasy player and what you should look for and maybe some things to avoid. And let's start with collecting.
We can start. Well,
where would you like?
Exactly.
Yeah,
we are perfect examples of like not playing Warhammer Fantasy, and all of a sudden we're playing it like we can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
And it was actually Kings of War, which was weird.
It was weird. It was
nothing wrong with Kings of War.
No, great game.
It was just we had our fantasy models.
We might do Kings of War on streams.
I would love to do that with a friend of mine, Cameron. You should see what he just made. He's going to post pictures.
You stuck me in that group chat, so I do.
Oh,
yeah. It was one of the 1,000 group chats you've added me to over the years.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I like them.
Yeah.
And
but
yeah. So anyway, let's dive into collecting Warhammer.
Talk about, I guess, using ourselves as an example. I could talk about other people too, and I could jump into there. But so. Yeah, I want to hear what you're going on. What's going on with you and they're collecting these days?
I'm at a place with Warhammer Fantasy, and the thing is that when you get to the point that Scott is and the point that I am and that a lot of our friends are at, you don't need any more. We're still going to keep getting more, but we don't need any more. We've all got several armies.
Where's my taser, man? You're going to get tased.
No.
It's going to get tased.
Okay, I'm glad we didn't bring it.
Blasphemy.
And the neat thing about it is that you can do it a couple of different ways. I mean, more than a couple, in fact. What I like to do is I've chosen an era of the game that I want to live in, and that is the 4th to 5th edition Hero Hammer era, going from about 1992 to 2000. And it's an era that's defined by a certain aesthetic, a certain look. And that's what I have gone for in these past years as I've been almost recollecting and regaining my Warhammer collection. These are the specific models that I've been going after. And there's pros and cons about doing this, but I love the cartoony look of the 90s era. You had metal miniatures. They were simple sculpts, but they were gorgeous in their own way. And it's something that if you're coming into the game, you'll probably take one look at them and be like, why do you want these goofy, misshapen things? And I will fight you.
He will.
I will. And
he'll flick the dark elves at you because the monopose ones have these their blades sticking up.
Oh yeah, they'll get you. They'll get you. Just like a throwing knife.
Those little gobos are cool though.
Oh yeah,
the monopose gobos.
The monopose. I love those monopose. And in that era, a lot of things were very much they were meant to be a representation of what a goblin or a goblin unit would look like. They had less individual character, but what they did have was kind of this simple charm to them, and I really like that.
Yeah.
So one of the things you could do is decide on an era or an aesthetic of Warhammer that you like. And if you're drawn to one in particular, you can kind of go down that rabbit hole as much as you want, because Warhammer can be really divided into 3 main eras and even sub-eras within that. You have the Old Hammer era, which is the 1st to 3rd editions, where the game was much more of a hybrid role-playing war game. It was crazy. A real Wild West, but full of incredible stuff. You have the era that I like, which is the Hero Hammer. Oh no, it's starting.
It's okay.
This is the part that I cut out in the
Grab a drink of water.
Yeah. I'm good. The Hero Hammer era, which is when the game started to be kind of cemented and you started to see the things that would carry on into the fluff for years to come, all the way up until the end times. And then you have the late edition eras, which is 6th to 8th. And those were defined by the game becoming darker and grittier. It caught that same grimdark virus that Warhammer 40K caught in 1998. And the thing with Warhammer, though, is it never really jumped the grimdark shark as much as 40K did. There was always a little bit more humor and lightness, and you just couldn't do it the same way that you could with 40K. But what you can do is you can look at the aesthetics of these different eras and kind of choose one that's right for you. The other thing that I think you should really consider if you're getting into Warhammer Fantasy in 2021, that's the year we're at, is get yourself some incredible miniatures from third parties.
Oh, yeah.
You can get them for so much cheaper than you can buying Warhammer Fantasy, because at this point, other than the very few kits that still exist for Age of Sigmar that got ported over, a lot of those ranges are just non-existing in Games Workshop anymore. You cannot get them except secondhand, and you will pay a premium for it, unfortunately, because, and this is kind of a double-edged sword, is interest in Warhammer Fantasy has really blossomed in the last several years. Absolutely. Especially these last year in lockdown. Yep. There's so many people rediscovering their love of the game, of these hobby projects. And I want to just throw out a couple names here if you're looking for good quality miniatures that are not the Games Workshop prices, basically reasonable prices. I think you could do really well looking at Mantic miniatures. And a lot of people poo-poo Mantic miniatures.
Yeah, they have some good stuff.
What they do have, and they've gotten so much better.
Yeah.
If you look at some of their old lines, like some of their elven lines and some of their dwarfs are very old. It was when they were kind of first finding their footing as a company. And those models really show their age, and they're not great. If you look at their current, like the new ranges they came out with in this last third ed Kings of War era, the Night Stalkers, those kind of things, oh man, they are really good, and you can get them for a reasonable price. The other thing that I would suggest is a new company on the market. I think they just started last year, called Wargames Atlantic.
Oh,
They're they're based out of, I think they're just down in Maine or New Hampshire, one of the, like, New England
I thought you
area.
were going to say Creature Caster.
Oh, I mean, Creature Caster's gorgeous.
It's Canadian,
but is it?
Yeah. Well,
I didn't know that.
It's a little bit expensive, but I'm telling you, they're amazing, amazing miniatures.
Oh yeah.
Look up Creature Caster for. There's some wild stuff.
Mhm.
It's really wild. Like
yeah. For these guys, I'm talking more about like your
basic ones.
army building blocks here. Wargames Atlantic does incredible undead, skeleton warriors. They do. If you wanted to do like a halfling force, I don't know how you would play that, but if you want to do one, you can do it with them.
What is it? Wargame Atlantic.
Wargames Atlantic. Yeah, and they also do their line is ever expanding. They've got some sweet lizardmen going on, and a lot of their range. They actually have. You can do a fantasy thing with it. You can do a 40K thing with it. They're all about giving you extra bits and giving you choices in their boxes.
Oh, cool.
Very reasonable stuff as well.
Nice.
And I think you'd really enjoy that if you're just starting off building. The other thing I'm going to throw out there is Oathmark. Oathmark is a game as well as a miniatures line. And this is where you can find some incredible stuff that is basically your building block units as well. You've got dwarves. Oathmark dwarfs are great, both like regular dwarf infantry and heavy dwarf infantry for things like hammerers and other elite dwarfy stuff.
Yeah.
You've got their elves. They've got humans. It's a incredible building block. Between them, Mantic, Wargames Atlantic, there's so many great companies now where you can get all of the basics, all of those building blocks for your armies.
Halfling militia.
Halfling militia.
You found this is sick.
It's so good. Yeah.
Wow.
Prices are good. They come with a lot of miniatures in the box.
$35.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that is American. Keep in mind, but still, yeah.
Still pretty
so like 40 some odd dollars Canadian.
They look rad.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I would really recommend that if you don't have that attachment to any particular era of Warhammer Fantasy, go with one of these other manufacturers. And if you're looking for like that high quality, like that Games Workshop price point, but like boutique almost miniatures, Mearse Miniatures. Oh boy, gorgeous stuff. As Scott said, Creature Caster, another great one for big monsters
for your,
and your centerpiece.
For your centerpiece, go to Creature Caster.
A lot of good stuff there. Yeah. Anything that you want to throw out for?
Man, like I've heard so many of these third-party companies, and you've just showed me like 2 or 3 more, and there's all these other ones. But yeah, Mantic's gotten better. There's there's a whole bunch of them now. There's the one that actually makes for 9th edition. I can't remember, Legends or something. I can't remember the name of those.
Yes,
but they're cool. They're coming up.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned 9th Ed.
Yeah.
Now, I don't play 9th Ed. Have you played 9th Ed?
I have, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you thought it was all right, right? But it was like very tournament organized. Or
I don't mind the tournament. It's just, I'm telling you, it's just because I couldn't use my books.
Oh,
I just like got so sad and depressed.
No,
I couldn't use my books.
I understand.
It's all about my books that I own.
Yeah. And the reason I bring this up is that if you go to the 9th Age website, they have a list of alternate minis that they keep of companies that do models that are suitable. And because the 9th Age is just based on Warhammer Fantasy, you can find basically whatever their equivalent of, say, Goblin Wolf Riders is. And then you can move that. You can see a list of companies that make good Goblin Wolf Riders. I use that all the time.
That's awesome.
And then I just go on eBay and pay too much for old 5th Ed miniatures.
Man,
so I'm just not take my own advice.
We're going to get there. Thanks, guys, in chat. They're also naming other stuff. Companies.
Oh, yeah.
If you guys name some, like, you can go back and people can go back and look at what you said.
Harryhausen Skellies. I'm going to have to look those up.
Yeah. Avatars of War.
Oh, Avatars of War. God, they're classic.
War.
They've been around forever.
Yeah.
Their dwarfs are great. Yeah.
There's so many.
Zealot and Reaper. Reaper Bones. If you want some big beasties for cheap, Reaper Bones. 100%. Patrick has some Reaper Bones. I was really impressed with them.
I've purchased a few Dark Sword minis because I want a character for my D&D, or I bought a Dark Elf Sorceress.
Okay.
From Dark Sword, and the aesthetic is a little bit different, but I put her on a square base. She looked fine, painted up similar. Different looking character.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, nice. No, it's really exciting how all these companies, that proves that fantasy is there.
Yeah.
It's there to stay. It's
Do you want to talk a little bit about your collecting style?
Right,
Since you don't, because you don't have that one obsession with a single era like I do. So you've got a little bit more freedom.
I love everything.
Yeah, well,
the only
it's a good way to be.
I traded away a lot of my 5th ed vampire counts army to a friend of mine because he wanted to start playing. This was a long time ago. So I had like not the first zombie dragon, I still have that, but the one was Zacharias. But I kept Zacharias.
Yeah, you did.
So that one's easier to find too. But fifth edition, I'm searching for Bretonians. Oh my god, they're expensive. So like
that's a thing.
Yeah, I wanted to get a Bretonian because I want to play 5th ed, but it never occurred to me until I'm like, why? I don't want to play with my minis that I own because they're the newer ones. Like in order to play 5th ed, it feels like you want to dive into that rabbit hole of getting those old ones. So kind of, I want to collect an army I haven't.
Right.
I just think it's so inspiring to like start a new army, especially for sure. Going back to 5th ed. So I'm thinking about Bretonians. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to go. I do have some Bretonians, but we'll figure it out. I want to spend a ludicrous amount of time and paint them.
Yeah, well, of course.
And at this point, though, I think I could hash out a good Bretonian army faster with painting because of just years of practice painting faster. But I actually collect, honestly, like I really like I guess when the 2011, between 2006 to 2011, that's my favorite models of GW. So the High Elves are a great example. I'm going to show you a bad example too. I'm not a huge fan of these Dragon Ogres.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like they're you can tell they're starting to get into the AutoCAD, and that really takes away from some of it works. Like the new Bellacor model is beautiful. It's probably done with AutoCAD. It's obviously
it certainly.
But it's so like there's so many bulk and muscle that it fits together better, and they probably focus more time on them. But it's that if you look at the High Elf line, the Dragon Princes, and these are all plastics I'm talking about. The Dragon Princes, the Phoenix Guard, the Island of Blood set. We're talking about the most beautiful miniatures in my opinion, that GW has produced in a line. Then you get the Beastmen, and I do love the idea of an old Beastman because the old Beastman medals are good too, like the Corn.
Yes.
So there is something, if you're going to get into the hobby and you want to collect old minis, you are going to find it difficult. Very, very difficult. So the third party thing is good. For me, I'm a bit of a purist. Not that I would love to see a whole non-GW army on the other side of the table. It's not that. Just personally for me, I'm such a purist for the minis because they were designed by similar artists and they look cool like that. But I mainly collect as, it's kind of funny, but I look at it as equipment. My models are equipment. And the way I'm going to explain that is I was trying to figure out why don't I have this model? Why don't I have that model? Like Nagash is an example. Why don't I own Nagash? And until Jesse's homebrew rules of Nagash, I didn't want Nagash. And now you know why? Because I couldn't play Nagash.
Right.
There's no, like in AOS, I wasn't using them, or fantasy is just ludicrous and not fun. I liked my minis that I own, I use. There's none that sit on the shelf just to look pretty. It's almost like my golfing equipment, but I get to paint it. So I like to use my minis, right? I consider it like equipment. So I collect it, and it's not like I don't love them and appreciate the aesthetics of them and all that stuff. But I just love to see the lines I have. I'm super proud of my collection over COVID. You guys have made me insane. It's like you reminded me how much I love Dark Elves. Yeah. Right. Even with your old 5th ed Dark Elves, I love them so much. Like the models, they have some goofy stuff.
Oh, they do. Certainly. But
the way when you make them bright, you're like, I want to play 5th ed. You just look at your army and you're like, I want to play 5th ed. So that's kind of like where I'm at. It's all about the aesthetics for me. And like honestly, I'm going to come out and say it. I don't like bright green bases.
I know you don't. I know we disagree on this fact. It's one of the few things that I think we have like a standing disagreement on.
It's not like,
I love it.
My worry is like, my thing is the palette. So the 5th ed palette is like, look at this gorgeous mini, bright green base. It's like, no, it's just, and I understand it. I get it. I understand it.
No, and it does work better for certain miniatures than others. Some things it goes really well. Some things it doesn't. I'm just like, actually your dark elves are darker bases, right? Yeah, I didn't do the classic greens for them. You come in and so I guess Bretonians are an example where the green base kind of does work because there's so many colors. Because there's so many colors going on. It's just this big bright. So but for me, collecting is it's like the greatest passion, right? Mm-hmm. And having that collection, finding those pieces you're missing. Like, what am I missing right now? What are my dark elves? I have most of them. Oh, I don't have Blackguard. Oh, so, okay. And like, there's certain eras I would collect. Like, I wouldn't want to collect. I'm not a huge fan of the new Executioners, so I would rather get the mid-range ones because they still look okay. And so with the Executioners, I feel like too, you might enjoy them more painted differently in the Games Workshop scheme. I know that's a sticking point, and I found it too for me. Not so many colors, just like black and maybe a silver helmet like Destro from G.I. Joe or something. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, like stuff like that. But yeah, for me, I'm very picky. Like, I'll get this edition of model to fit in with that because it's just the way I like it to look. But nice. But if you're collecting, Warhammer, you go with the rule of cool. Of course. No matter what. We will help you. And anybody can go into the orchard and be like, we love like we have a couple of new players. We'll talk to you off. Yeah. Well, like Emery was collecting Tomb Kings when we met him for Kings of War, and the poor guy we got him into the orchard and he starts ripping them off he had multi-based everything. The guy's a hard worker. I gotta give it that. Just like, here's my skellies. So we'd like to have Emery on eventually to show what the Tomb Kings can do in the orchard, because it's nice. I got slammed by his chariots many times. The high elves didn't stand a chance. So Patrick is saying in the chat here, if you're looking for some old style looking Bretts, go for Fireforge. Oh, thanks. Yeah, actually, that's a good thing. Patrick has shown me several of his Fireforge models that he's gotten over the last couple of years, and they're very good. Is the Dark Elf on Pegasus that Fireforge, Patrick? I remember he showed me a Dark Elf like a Morathi type thing. Yeah. Because Yeah. Oh, when Jesse mentioned the Harryhausen Skellies, he was talking about the Wargames Atlantic one, like the Jason and the Argonauts. Oh, yeah. I love that. I love that aesthetic so much. That actually, I saw a clip from that today, and I was just thinking about how much I love those skeletons. They look so good. I love great old movies like that. Yes. Really, really good. It's classic. What do you think about moving on to hobbying? Yeah. We do have our executive producer here. Yes. Finally. Welcome, Raph. Yeah. Guys, so sorry. It was one of those days, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So you look tired. Yeah. I'm beat. Well, thanks for helping us through. Texting. Do this, do that. We messed up a few times, but Yeah. Did you guys? Where are you guys streaming? Is it on Twitch? No, we're doing YouTube. Yeah. We had to change things have gone in a direction. So we're here. We do have our chat here. They found us. And we're here. Thanks again, guys. You're the best. Jesse, pay the man. We should really pay the man. We want to. This is broke. This is what happens when we don't have the man here. We were gonna set up. I'm sure Raph's gonna hate the lighting that we have here. Oh yeah. We were gonna have 2 cameras as well and all sorts of stuff. And seriously, when Raph is gonna be here on point, when we get ready, you're gonna be. It's gonna look so good. You guys are gonna love it. You're gonna love it. That's why we're doing this though, was to just kind of test everything out. I'm happy when I go over to Nathan. I'm like, I'm gonna plug this in and it works. Like we were just. Oh yeah. We were just excited. It worked. You've seen the apes like just banging on stuff, just like hitting things. That's basically how I do tech. Just give me the Warhammer. You guys did it. We did it. Yeah. That matters. Yeah. So I forgot. I got so excited today. I was gonna bring my when Nathan and I usually podcast. I usually am painting
in the background. So I get more work done because I can actually focus better while I'm painting. And all of a sudden I have all these painted minis and I'm like, how did this happen? Just like our podcast. So I was going to bring my Dragon Princess today, but I didn't, not to show off the hobby, just because it's, well, I'm running out of time. I'm 43 years old here. Like,
got to finish at least some of them.
Yeah, right. Like it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, that does get us on to the topic of hobbying. And I think that's a good one, is do your hobby to something to listen to or watch.
Oh, man.
Podcast.
Absolutely.
Our podcast.
Crucial. This podcast.
Yeah. It's really good.
Is it time for your plug? No.
No. Well, we do that at the end. It's fine.
The shameless Patreon plug.
Yeah.
It'll go later.
Okay.
Yeah.
The segue.
Yeah.
The segue. Yeah. Hobbying. Well, yeah. We're, like I said, we're probably never going to stop painting at some point. Like, can you imagine saying, yeah, all my minis are painted.
I guess I'm done.
What do I do? I mean, that's never going to happen, because if you know, you have an idea of like, oh, I'm so close to finishing this army. You're like, yeah, I need to buy some more models. It's like, yeah, it's just the way it is. Buy more models. But what do you think?
Yeah, for me, hobbying is kind of a thing I do at a very manic pace.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll stop for a while and then I'll come back to it. And it's, I gotta have the right set of circumstances, basically. Like I'll go and I'll knock off a bunch of stuff in a few days, and then it'll be like a week before I'll touch things again. And it's unfortunate because, as I mentioned when we started the episode, I've been doing so much less hobbying since I've been doing all of this stuff. Doing the podcast, doing the Hero Hammer stuff for the magazine, doing the stuff with the Flail Skulls guys. It's so much fun. It's so great. And it's another way for me to interact with the hobby. But at the same time, it means that I just don't paint as much. And I got to find some kind of happy medium. I need more time. I should stop sleeping, I think. That'll work, right?
I remember
reading
years ago when I started getting Warhammer, I read like the Chaos Warriors. At some point, they don't need food and sleep.
Yeah.
And I was like, we just need to be Chaos Warriors. That's all we need. And we can just paint our minis, right? Who needs sleep?
It's so good.
There's so much to do in life. Sleeping is in the way, right? But sleeping feels good.
One of the things that I'll mention about the hobby is that that's kind of one of those spots that the costs of it can really add up if you're not careful.
Yeah.
And I think one thing to understand is, for a lot of people when they get into the game, you get the GW stuff because that's the easy to get stuff. They've got the whole painting method now. They've got the contrast stuff. You can live and die in the GW sphere and never go out of that.
But don't do that.
But don't do that. That's a good idea.
Don't only do it.
Yeah. And Games Workshop stuff is good. I certainly don't. If you've got the means and you really like it, go for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, around here, we're pushing like $5.50 for a bottle now?
It's more than that. Yeah. I mean, we joked around the other day. If you somebody spilled a half a jar of contrast paints, and it was like $6. That's $6 you spilled on the table.
Look at what you did. Did you rub their nose in it? That's very like, you sound like you got very upset with them.
It wasn't, no, I only get so upset when they spill alcohol or something like that.
We're getting very close to like printer ink price.
Printer ink price. You might as well buy a new printer, right?
That's it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I might as well buy new paint. But yeah, honestly, there's a lot of, when you start in the hobby, everyone usually goes to GW if it's GW. Yeah. So it's funny. I see the people, we have a GW here in Halifax, and I highly recommend going to that GW, especially if you're a first timer. But if you don't have a lot of money, go on Kijiji, go on our local trading groups. Like if you go on our site, Roll the Initiative, you can find not only a game to play, whatever game you want to play, 40K, fantasy, mostly 40K, but you can put, I have these bits for trade. I don't think there was a time no one had a successful trade or someone didn't point them in the direction. The community is so amazing, and you don't want to limit yourself to just GW, because unfortunately their employees can't really talk about a lot of the other companies that we're talking about.
No,
it's part of their thing. Like they're pushing their own gear.
Yeah.
And it's fair. But when you're in
Games Workshop is a little cultish.
It's a bit cultish.
It's set up that way. And it's kind of a feedback loop as well, because like the people who get into it get really into it, because it is like nothing else, really. It's an incredible, games and everything. But then you really do get this feedback loop of people just being super into it, and they kind of outdo each other at like the levels of brand loyalty that they have, and it's really weird. And I'm not gonna say like in my younger years that I wasn't somewhat part of that, but
I was a little bit of a fanboy too.
It is strange. But sorry, I interrupted you there.
You didn't at all. It's important. I think I'm glad we kind of stumbled upon that, as we can do. You definitely don't want to be narrow there, because you're going to learn more about the game too if you go to your community.
Yeah.
You're going to people are so helpful, and they want you to play, and they want you to get better. They're encouraging. Our little group, like everyone else, can't wait for COVID to end. We're gonna like rock pile each other for games. Like it's gonna
be insane. It's gonna be nuts.
Yeah. 100%. But yeah, I think hobbying comes down to your community. It's very important, because they can lead you to places if you don't know. So yeah, go to your local game store. They'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah. And try out different brands of hobby supplies. Paints are a big one. You can find some incredible stuff. Vallejo.
Jesse introduced me
Pro
to
acrylic.
Sable brushes.
Oh, yes. I've heard of Sable brushes.
The one I've used so much. And I made that little video of me putting doing the Beastman eye, and I'm just like, oh, it's a little bit liking it too much. But yeah, try Sable brushes, try Vallejo. Actually, Infinity has Vallejo connected recently.
Oh, okay.
So you can buy, it has a mini in the Vallejo kit from your faction, and it has the color scheme that's usually with it.
Oh,
but
cool.
Worst case scenario, you get all these beautiful paints from Vallejo, and it's decently priced.
Awesome.
Yeah, and you can buy that at
that's great.
local as well.
Yeah. That's great. All right. Well, we kind of already touched on it, but gaming in 2021.
Yeah.
Assuming, we don't know, but assuming things open up.
So we have 40K tournaments happening now. We had one at the Deck Box. I'm not going to be able to play in them for a while, but they're happening. That's the thing. We're going to probably, Jesse and I were talking about, we can't wait for the weather to get warmer, because remember we could play outside.
Oh yeah.
Playing outside is great. It's, nice little breeze and sunny weather and some beer and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, gaming is, like I said, everyone's getting really excited. They're pretty responsible right now. They're only limiting, I think it was 10 people.
Yeah,
it's tournament, which is fine.
Yeah. For gaming, I guess my big thing, if you're new to the hobby, look for people around you. Join Facebook groups for the era that you're interested in, and just see what's out there. Because like I found Scott and what would become the Warhammer Orchard through Emery.
Yeah.
Who replied to my post on Kings of War Canada.
Yeah.
About trying out Kings of War, because I wanted to play basically Warhammer.
Something.
I wanted to play something rank and flank.
Yeah.
And I was like, is anyone playing this in Nova Scotia? And he was like, oh yeah, we're just going to start a thing. And then it all kind of snowballed from there. Don't be shy. Yeah. There's more Warhammer Fantasy players than you think.
There really is.
There really is.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
funny.
Really cool.
We should mention, you've probably heard me say this, but we did remote play. Emery and I did remote play. That was you introducing Emery to the game.
Now,
his first game of Warhammer.
I need to ask you, Scott, is there a introductory game that you have played with someone for Warhammer where you haven't gotten smoked?
Usually it's kind of, I'd rather teach Infinity because I don't lose so much. It's usually a draw or, something like that. It's true. Every time you play Warhammer, you can't give people advantages. You can't.
No.
With your knowledge, like I knew what I did wrong in every game afterwards, because like you cannot, because it's that one charge and just breaks everything. And
a lot of it's
unforgiving.
Yeah, a lot of it isn't forgiving.
It's not forgiving.
Yeah. I just wanted to kind of make fun of you.
Yeah, no, it's not my ego. That's not my ego. Trust me, if anybody is going to teach the game with more passion, I love teaching any game.
Yeah,
I love. And it's just like I get into that frame of mind of like I'll do a fluffy game. Like here's my list. Like having 4 Hydras seems like hilarious. OP, but Andrew kicked my butt. Like he took his dragons on this flank and just creamed me this way. And yeah, I was like, I can't beat that armor. So yeah, I learned that like I thought I wasn't going too easy on him, but it turns out I was.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna Andrew rematch, buddy, rematch. We're gonna do it.
I guess the other thing that I would say for gaming is if you're getting into Warhammer Fantasy, be aware that there are these different eras and different groups. And it's kind of great, actually, because of this fragmentation, because there's no current edition to chase. You can really delve and explore almost 30 years of history for this game.
Yeah.
What you want to do is try out 6th, try out 8th, try out Hero Hammer 4th or 5th. I mean, 7th, if I guess.
I'm glad you mentioned 7th. There's some 7th fans. They're very small. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've just yet to meet them. Yeah.
You will.
I'm sure I will. Yeah. I'm sure I will. Like some of the 7th stuff wasn't too bad. I guess it really just got off the rails with the army books. 7th.
It's an example of how the power creep. It was classic power creep.
It was classic,
and that's why we like the Orchard. We can literally anybody can start playing this game on a way more balanced. Like some books are obviously better than others, but it's not skewed at all like it is in the other editions.
No, and the 8th ed books work a lot better with the 6th ed core rules, honestly, because it does limit some of the crazier stuff that you could do in 8th, which is really nice. But yeah, just try out different things. And also, if you don't want to do any of those things, there are the rewrites that people have been doing. There's our own Orchard edition, which has its own rule book and rule matrix. Thank you for that again, Jesse.
Yep.
And there's things like the Warhammer Renaissance project, which is a Hero Hammer kind of remake, kind of balancing out Hero Hammer a little bit.
Patrick,
7th ed demons for the win. You keep those 7th ed demons to yourself.
Do you know what FTW also stands for? Yeah, that's all right. That's where my brain went.
And there's also 9th Age, which we mentioned. And there's communities around all these things.
You're gonna play, honestly. You're not to like jump on like, I have to play this because of the community. You can be a self-starter.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I've done it a few times, and it's like my friends if they want to try it, they don't like it, we just move on or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not that you can't be a self-starter, but you're going to find a lot of fun in a larger group. Like even if it's 5 people that are playing one game, that's enough to get your teeth into it. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a pretty good rundown. Is basically
there's so much to talk about.
I mean, it's a hole with no bottom, but I mean, I think we've covered at least some of the basics there.
Miniature wargaming.
Yeah,
we want you to play Warhammer,
and we don't want to keep people all night here today.
And if somebody doesn't know or hasn't heard our podcast, we have a really strong and healthy Infinity group here. I will teach Nathan very soon. Poor Nathan has all the podcasts to do in the world, so it's really hard to get him out. Yeah, but maybe I'll guys, the Crown of Command, and I'm going to make Nathan paint while he does his next podcast.
Dude, I'm a single tasker. I don't have that brain space.
I can't believe I can do it. It's because I'm listening to you talk about when you talk about a story. I'm like, this is amazing. It's like I'm in the podcast, but I'm actually.
Yeah, the other thing, I guess, is that I don't shut up ever. And that's kind of difficult for doing other stuff. Is that I've got that single focus.
I'm usually the one being told that by my family. Be quiet.
All right. Last thing we'll hit on for being a Warhammer fantasy player in 2021. What do we think the future holds for this? I think the future is quite bright. I think that the game's in a better place than it's been in decades.
There's just almost. It's wild.
It really is.
We're on the cusp of mainstream. Like 40K is the most mainstream.
Yeah, I mean 40K is
gamer, like it is to think. But after Total War, it's just madness. It's so close.
I really don't know where 40K's got to go at this point. But for fantasy, I mean, having Total War Warhammer has been such a blessing for our whole community. It's kept it in front of mind. It's gotten people interested in the setting, the world, the races, everything about it.
Yeah.
And even if Total War Warhammer 3 is the last one, which it very well could be, even if that's the last one, this is a game that has staying power very clearly. And it's a community that's so passionate that I don't think you need to worry about anyone. I don't think you need to worry about the game dying. I don't think you need to worry about these groups, calling it quits or anything like that.
We're not talking about another End Times here.
No. Well, here's the thing. They did that. Now it's ours. We own Warhammer Fantasy, and they can't. They can't hurt us anymore.
Yeah, we can do.
Games Workshop can't hurt us anymore.
Well, there's so much independent. There's talent. There's so much talent. Everyone has love for it and passion and the talent, and it's wonderful.
It really is. It really is. It's so good, and I hope that after hearing that, if you're on the fence about starting Warhammer Fantasy, or if you're just kind of looking for some places to check out, I hope we've given you those. Maybe we can link to some of those in the little box underneath the thing. I know YouTube.
I will mention something because of Warhammer. When you mentioned me teaching the game and getting creamed, actually Warhammer Fantasy to me is the funnest game potentially to lose to.
I've had some really fun losses.
Yeah, I don't.
Patrick can attest. Almost every game that I play with Patrick.
I don't mind losing at Infinity, but it can be a skewed game sometimes if you make some bad plays. Mm-hmm. In Fantasy, some of the bad plays are like, my orcs failed animosity. Like that's part of it.
Yeah,
so
like 5 times.
It's you still won that game.
I did. Yeah. I don't know how.
Why? Yeah. Stupid bolt thrower.
Oh, that bolt thrower right in the butt.
Right in the butt
of the Doom Bolt.
That's what I get for spending so much time painting that Doom Bolt.
Yeah, I have
target on it, right?
Yeah.
But good times.
Yeah. Oh, Scott, I have something for you.
Yeah.
Is this the quiz? This is the quiz.
God.
This is the game show portion because I had to. I had to do it.
All right.
And I'm so very excited about this. I wish when we were doing our podcast that I could just do dumb game shows the whole time. I would love
you should have a little. This is our second one.
Our podcast runs so long anyway. This is, I think, the third one we've done.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is gonna be a whole thing here. I mean, not a whole thing, but I gotta.
We should show off the Nearby Planet logo too.
Oh so we are shout out to Nearby Planet.
We are recording at Nearby Planet. It's a VR lounge and studio arcade in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and we love it. I work here. Raphael works here, and they're kind enough to loan us their space on the time off.
Huge,
big TV.
Shout out to them.
Yeah,
they are very, very generous in letting us do this here after hours.
Cool. All right, lay it on me.
All right, so today's game show is called "What's the Points?" And
I love it already.
We are going to do something a little bit different. I got 3 rounds for you here, and each round is a little bit different.
All right.
So in this first round, your goal is to identify the character or unit based off of its points. And I've got some other hints for you.
This is like my favorite game.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and I've done, so you get a bit of a choice here. So there's option A, which is a 6th edition character,
right,
of some period, or the second option is a 4th/5th edition character.
So that's I don't know what the questions are, but they're in that.
Yeah.
Category.
So what? Yeah, they're in that category, and the first hint I'm going to give you is their points. They're naked. Points.
Okay. So since I've been out of 4th and 5th for a long time, we're going to go 6.
Go with 6.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hint number 1.
Uh-oh.
This character comes in at 1,015 points. Oh, also, I should let you know that you have a maximum of 3 guesses here.
What the heck?
Yeah, 3 guesses.
1,015.
1,015 points. And we can go through each of the hints. There's 5 hints, but if you get them before that, you get bonus points.
I get bonus points.
Yeah.
So right away,
somebody expensive.
My first initial thought, and don't answer this. I'm just going to think it out.
Okay, just
Lizardmen.
Mm-hmm.
Lizardmen is my first initial thought. Yeah, because like Gray Seer on a bell wasn't that much. So it's a special character, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Masamune. Oh, I can get a hint before I guess.
You can
right?
you can get a hint.
Okay.
Okay.
Or should I just?
I mean, you've got 3 guesses, so you could just throw one out.
Okay, I'm gonna say Masamune.
Masamune. That is a great guess. It is not Masamune.
Damn.
Yeah. All right.
By the way, I can't look at chat. So
I was gonna say, I wonder if chat's gonna.
You guys can guess too.
Chat, you can play along, but you're not allowed to look it up. Do you want the second hint?
Oh my god! Hold on.
Oh, do you think you got it? Oh, Patrick right away.
I knew it. I knew he was going to do it
right away.
Because Archeon was 850. I don't think it's Archeon. Okay, I'm going to go through my armies here.
Okay.
Warriors of Chaos, Orcs of Goblins, High Elves, Imric.
Crop.
Yeah. Thank you.
Crop this up so he can't see.
Thank you. I'm just going over my books.
There we go.
Vampire Counts, no. Dark Elves. Oh! 6 Ed Dark Elf. It's Malekith.
Oh, that's a great guess.
But it's not him.
It's not Malekith. No.
Jesus.
Nope.
No.
Would you like a hint before you?
Right. I'm just stabbing. Yeah. Oh, I get it.
All right. But you're thinking along the right lines here.
Yeah.
So hint number 2 is rides a large monster.
Yeah, I thought that.
Okay.
Who the hell? There's no way in orcs that's that expensive.
You know what? Even as an addendum to that second hint, I will tell you that he comes in around 700. The mount comes in around 300.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nagash riding a nightmare. No, it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna kick myself. So we're looking at 6th Ed, and it's a he. Oh my god, it's not High Elf. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna get it, but
okay.
Ingram.
Sorry, who?
The Dragon Lord Ingram or whatever.
Oh, Imric?
Imric, sorry.
Imric.
Yeah. No.
Imric. Not Imric.
Okay.
Not Imric. All right.
What do we got?
All right.
Where are you gonna be another hint?
You know what?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, we'll give you another hint here. Both he and the mount have a movement of 6.
Oh, so it's not a man. So elf, no, elves are 5. Good lord. 6 movement.
Yeah.
Ogres move 6. Elves move 5. No, I don't know.
Okay. So hint number 4 would be magic. His magic items include the Scroll of Semitep and the Staff of Kaphamon.
Stupid Tomb Kings. Isn't it? It's Tomb King.
It's not.
It's not a Tomb King?
Not a Tomb King.
So it is a Lizardman.
Hint 5. He is Strength 5. He's a Strength 5, Toughness 5 wizard.
Strength 5, Toughness 5 wizard.
Bonus hint number 6. You have said his name on this very cast.
Oh, no. It's Archeon.
No.
Okay.
Sicarius the Ever-Living.
Oh my god. Wait a minute. That's crazy. I was going to say that as my second guess. I was going to say that, and I ventured away from the vampire counts. We're going to keep that.
All right.
Nice. Good job, Patrick.
Okay, round 1.
Yeah, I almost, because I had him right. I was like,
but we have other options here. I might do both of these questions for round 2 because they're quite short.
Yeah. Do you want to switch to 4th or 5th? Or just stick with 6?
No. This one, this is a different round, so I've changed up the game for this one.
Oh, cool.
So this one, we're looking for. This one's called top or bottom, and basically, I've got 2 units here, and I want you to tell me firstly, what was the cheapest Empire regiment in 4th and 5th edition, coming in at 2.5 points per model. What do you think is that?
Yeah, they're wonky points back then. 2.5 points. I don't think they had militia back then, like the free companies. No, that was later.
That was later. So yeah, we're looking. They came in.
They're halflings.
Halflings. You got it.
Yeah.
Got it right away.
Right
All
on.
right. Now we're going for the top. I'm looking for the most expensive Hordes of Chaos from 6th edition. Lord choice, generic, not special.
Not special character.
Yeah. This is a tricky one.
Yeah. Okay, so the most expensive
because that
Lord
has
choice
a lot of lords
in 6th ed.
In the 6th ed Hordes of Chaos.
Yeah. Oh, damn! I just got this book in the mail the other day.
Yeah, I know. That's why I went through. I was going to say, why is it gonna?
Oh God, it has to be. I want to say Demon Prince.
The Demon Prince?
Demon Prince, yeah.
That's a good guess. The Demon Prince comes in at 300.
Jesus.
But I
Another
will.
character.
There is
non-special.
Remember, greater demons were also Lord.
Yes, I forgot. Okay, definitely the Changer of Ways.
Lord of Change.
Lord of Change, yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's funny too. They all come in over 600. The Lord of Change is the most expensive at 665, beating out the Bloodthirster by 15 points to take the top spot.
Yeah. They're so underpowered.
Yeah, they are.
They're really underpowered. For the points.
6th edition did not want you to take casters.
No.
Did not.
Yeah.
All right. This is our final round.
Cool.
And this is the big one here. All right. So I have a... Oh, can we do this one?
Yeah.
Oh no, I just realized that I may not have the image up here. I'm sorry. You're going to have to vamp for me for a second here, Scott.
Yeah,
as I get this up, because this one's a little bit more involved. We're gonna do a little bit of identification and see if Scott can do that. See if I can. So let's do it. I love it. Shy off and trust your instincts.
Man, it's funny too because Zacharias is I had him in my hand 2 days ago, getting him back to the bits together.
I love the fact that you mentioned him.
Yeah,
and then you just totally forgot about it.
Well, I actually never thought. Didn't remember vamps being that expensive. One. Yeah.
Well, not only he was a vampire lord. 4th level wizard on Zombie Dragon, and in 6th ed that cost you over 7,000 points. To be fair though, I think Zacharias the Ever Living might have been worth it.
He was good.
He was so good. He was so good. Yeah.
What we got here
now? All right. How are we doing here? Oh man, see, I downloaded everything before the thing, and then it all went away on me. No, that's okay. Yeah. That's okay. We've been doing well for this one. Yeah.
Start out,
Scott. While we're just waiting for my thing to load here, what is your favorite of the 6th edition? The insane characters, the ones that cost 6, 7 plus 100 points.
I do like Malekith a lot.
I mean, Malekith, yeah. He's pretty great.
For what they do in the game?
Yeah, or just in general. For me, it was definitely either Zacharias, because I actually used Zacharias in games. And
so did I.
Zacharias was that's why I say he might have been worth it, because he could do Nagash could do in the end times, just raise units.
Yes.
And he had a Dispel scroll that you could use every single turn.
Oh yeah,
which was brutal.
That makes sense.
Shut people down.
That's worth 700 points.
Yeah, it is worth 700
that's
points.
Busted as hell.
What else did he had so much stuff. It was crazy.
He actually fits on the new Zombie Dragon.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. I mean, on the he fits nicely. I have him because he's got that. The model's got the that long hooded dress in the cloak he has. So it's like this. It's actually rounded perfectly for the seat, so he can fit in there. Yeah. Just my paint job doesn't match him. I'm actually the old paint job I did on him will hold up. But I use Dark Angel Green on his.
So that'd be a nice one.
It's nice, but it's definitely
a little
more
bit of gloss.
It looks more like for 5th ed. Like I painted it for 5th ed, so it's like bright.
That's always the goal.
Yeah,
just paint things for 5th ed. That's fun.
Yeah.
Look, if I can't see can't see your miniatures from space, they're not bright enough.
I love it. Yeah,
not bright enough.
My Dark Elves, you won't be able to see them.
You know what's funny though? I like Hero Hammer. Yeah, it's super bright. I don't think anything was brighter than 2nd ed 40K though.
Oh my god!
And I think that's just the Marines, right? Because they were all candy coated.
Yep.
And they were just absolute.
They needed to be also like they're such heavy metal that you needed to varnish them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's shining. Yeah. What do I have here? Yeah, my brain for 6th ed is gone. Like I played that edition more than any edition, but it's like the points and stuff.
Yeah,
cancel it because I study points for like 5 games right now, so it's like I haven't opened a 6th book since Jesse and I had a game. What was it? Oh, I used Dark Elves, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
I mean the Dark Elves aren't the best, but you could make. Oh, we used the they had an old FAQ. We found the old FAQ for the upgraded, like they reduced the points. The cold ones went up a leadership.
Oh, nice.
I think it was by Prinnan, or was it Matt Ward? No, it wasn't Ward. It was one of the old writers. But yeah, really cool. What else? What else do you guys? We got Jesse pronounced Zacharias. Yeah. There's an old White Dwarf bat rep where he smacks a whole Dark Elf army. I believe it.
Yeah, I remember that.
That old mess that. Yeah.
Okay, we are in business here. Sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what chat's for.
That is what chat's for. Chat.
Chat saves you.
Chat entertains.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are almost ready to put Scott to the ultimate test here. And I think this one might be a little bit difficult. So I was going to say, chat, if you want to play along here.
Okay, I'm going to cover chat up again.
Okay. We'll go to chat if if we're in a bind here. All right.
Was Mazamundi in 6th? I can't remember.
Mazamundi?
I don't think so.
I don't think he was actually.
No, I think Lord Crow. I think that's who I meant.
All right, so Scott.
Already.
Final round of our little game show here. I have a regiment from 8th edition.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to guess what that regiment is. And, if you can, its points.
By how it smells?
Close. To figure this out, you can choose from the following questions to ask. And you can ask a total of 8 questions in any combination. Some questions can be asked multiple times.
Gotcha.
So you can ask for 1 stat profile. So, for example, weapon skill. Maybe you want to know that.
Mm-hmm.
You can ask for the unit's starting equipment. You can ask for the unit's special rules to a maximum of 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And you can ask for one of the unit's options. So if they can take a banner or whatever.
Yep.
Or like one of their upgrades, if they can have shields. You can ask for its place in the army, either core, special, rare, etc.
Gotcha.
And you can ask for its starting unit size.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little less obvious. But, okay, so the idea here is to ask the best question.
That's right.
Which is probably... So, what was before equipment again?
So, before equipment was... You can ask for 1 stat profile.
Stat, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all...
So, if you wanted to, you could just go... You could ask 8 of its stats and then guess from that. Or you can do any number of these things.
I'm going to do a mix here.
Okay.
So, we're going to start with starting equipment.
Starting equipment. Okay. That's a good one, I think, for a start. Their starting equipment is hand weapon, heavy armor.
Oh, that is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Hand weapon, heavy armor. Huh. Don't have a shield. Hand weapon, heavy armor. Chat's going crazy. My first
Patrick's already figured it out somehow. It's
yeah. Oh, for sure.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna go with
what's next?
Weapon skill.
Weapon skill. Excellent choice. Weapon skill of 5.
Ooh, okay. Right. I should be able to get this. Weapon skill 5. Hand weapon, heavy armor.
Yep.
Well, there's chaos as weapon skill 5 and a lot of things. There's elves. Hand weapon, heavy armor. Hand weapon, heavy armor. Oh. Cold one. Knights.
I should have done Cold One Nights for you. It is not Cold One Nights.
That'd be too obvious. Okay.
Yeah, but you still have a bunch of questions.
Okay, so we go up until 5, hand weapon, heavy armor. Because like technically, I guess the lance and all the other stuff would be included. So it's just
that is their starting equipment.
That's not
is not any of their optional stuff.
So if I ask options, you give me all their options.
So if you ask options, I will give you one option.
One option. Okay.
One option.
Well, let's try an option.
Okay. The entire unit may take shields for 1 point per model.
Yeah. Oh, I keep thinking dwarves and stuff, but it's like they have better armor, Gromroll armor and stuff. So it's hand weapon, heavy armor, weapon skill 5, and
you still have things like special rules, unit options, starting size, place in the army.
Let's go with place in the army.
Place in the army? Okay. So they are a core choice.
Core choice, of course they are. I knew that. So mundane.
I don't know. Weapon skill 5, I think that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, right away, it's like sounds like a Chaos Warrior, but they don't have heavy armor. They have Chaos armor. Right. Oh, weapon skill. Oh, Black Orc.
Black Orc. Black Orcs, I think, are only 4, but is not
really?
a Black Orc. Yeah.
Wow, that's sad.
Yep.
So we got core choice.
You got core choice, weapon skill 5, hand weapon, heavy armor for starting equipment. They can be upgraded to take shields, as well as perhaps other things.
Oh my God, we're talking about longbeards, or not? Sorry, is it longbeards? Yeah, longbeards.
Wow.
Yeah,
longbeards. Longbeards.
Yeah. See, I wanted to get it
Tell
before
me
that.
how you get to longbeards.
Well, I
didn't think you were getting anywhere near.
I should have got it before. Yeah, because the weapon skill 5 should have given it away. What do we got?
Dwarves. Yeah,
dwarves. Yeah. Final Jeopardy music.
Do you know what, Patrick? I should have asked movement,
and then I would have known right away. Right? Movement 3.
Yeah. I was going to say, movement 3 would have given up the game.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you would go for movement.
Yeah.
Well done. I am shocked.
No worries.
Shocked that you got that.
I got to redeem myself after Zacharias.
I thought that was the. Yeah. I thought that was the hardest one there.
Man, your games are awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Super fun.
Yeah. No, I do enjoy doing them. One of my favorite things is stupid game shows, and it's one of my dreams in life is to just host a really dumb game show somewhere.
It's got to be like nerd trivia.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's one of those things that's kind of like why I spend a lot of time editing the podcast is when you're doing trivia, when you are the game master or the
DM.
You always appear smart, and it's the same when I can edit the podcast. I can appear smart, because I'm the one asking the questions.
Alex Trebek.
Yeah. So I just love the idea of us doing this YouTube channel, and then everyone being like, "Wow, this guy, he sounded so much smarter." I don't know what's going on. Not very good on camera.
That's fun. That's fun, man.
Yeah. I think we've done this. I think we've reached the end.
I think
we
started out
show
a little shaky, but we got strong.
You know what? I think we started out strong and went downhill. We'll see.
I disagree.
Have to watch it.
I disagree.
Yeah. No, I think this has been a good first first go at things.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, the first bit was a little weird where our original stream didn't work out. Luckily, everyone was able to jump over. Hopefully, everyone was able to jump over. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do some apologies on the
Well, we're going to apologize
channel
right now.
yeah. Before we go today, there's just a couple of things that we should mention. And first off is a huge thanks to our patrons. They enable this show to happen, as well as our executive producer, Ralph.
Ralph?
Jesus.
That's the best.
Our executive producer, Ralph.
We're not editing.
We're not. No, we can't edit that.
This is great.
I just called you Ralph. I'm sorry. Sorry, he's never gonna help us now, or he's gonna light that one spot on my forehead that just shines when I move in this wrong direction.
Yeah.
I can find it. It's right there.
We have to teach him. We have to teach him to be mean first because he's such a nice dude.
Yeah, our patrons. Big thanks to Raph. Without them, we would not be here. Could not do this show. And by sheer coincidence, our patrons just happen to be the sexiest humans alive. They were recently voted that by People Magazine, so that's pretty cool.
They're getting that in the mail.
And yeah, just gonna do a little Patreon shout out here before we go to our patrons, Valdemar Share. Valdemar Share. You know what? I'm just gonna offend all of our patrons by reading their names and doing such a bad job. Valdemar Share is our first patron. Marcel Josh.
That's Sesher.
Sesher, thank you.
Yeah. Do you want me to read
so
them?
Bad. Do you want to go for it?
John, I don't know this one, but it'd be John.
Let's just say A. John A. Havstein.
John
A. Havstein.
Jason Barr. James Allen.
Joshua Van Z.
Oh, I like that name. That's
Rodrigo Garcia Carmona.
Thank God for the Spanish.
And GJ. Because GJ already told us that we could call him GJ.
Gertjan van Houtgen. Sorry, buddy. I tried it.
This is why we call him GJ. Anyway, boy, I hope they don't hate us after that. Thanks a ton to our patrons. If you too want to support what we do and how we do it, and get sweet bonus podcasts in the mix and other episodes and goodies and videos coming soon, you can find us at patreon.com/Wargames Orchard. That's going to be it for us tonight.
That was a lot of fun, guys. Thank you.
So fun.
A little rocky, but we're going to get better.
Thanks for joining us. Chat, you were incredible.
Yeah, super fun.
Patrick knowing the answer to all of these things immediately.
We're gonna have to bring a book each time to cover the stream.
He's a bit of an encyclopedia.
Yes, he is. Absolutely.
Patrick, we will get a game in soon, buddy. I'm sorry, I've just been swamped. And that's it. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thanks
for watching, and we'll see you again real soon.
Good.
How do we stop a stream?
Yeah.
And then they were here for the rest of the night.
Bye, guys.